offense to begin with. You know, this past week we did do some shuffling on the offensive line. Did not have this planned last week when I talked to you. This was something that we had gone to Wednesday when we found Eric Bergman was concussed and would be unable to play. So we went with Tanner Crum at the center position, Richard Wilson at the right guard spot, and then we moved Clayton Melville over to the left tackle, and then Ethan Worth, who's been with us now 3 weeks, he actually started at the right tackle position for us. So because of that shuffle, I mean, that's currently how our offensive line is scheduled for today. Now, Eric Bergman has got the clearance to start practice, so he should get back into the mix, and we'll make some decisions on personnel as we progress. But I was happy for the most part with how our offensive line played on the day, and they did a pretty good job of keeping Corey protected, and you know, we did have some success with some of the offensive schemes that we were doing. So that was the lineup that we went with the offensive line. Also at the tight end position, we did get Dalton Morgan back into the mix. This was the first time that he saw the field. Actually, last week was the first time that he was able to practice for us. So we were very happy with the production that Dalton gave us at the tight end spot. And then with Adam Feeney and Mike Cole Pruitt, we're getting that tight end position back to full strength. The fullback position was at full strength with both Ray Agnew and Rick Hicks. The receiver corps, I was pleased with their performance, especially David Lewis and Stephen McKinney. I thought Stephen McKinney was our offensive player of the week. He's continuing to develop, and I was pleased with what I saw on the field. So, and David Lewis made some pretty impressive catches and some good runs after catch. So we feel that we are progressing in the receiving corps. Tailback, Stephen Struther, Mikael McCall carried most of the load. We had some success running the ball on the perimeter, and both those guys I thought ran hard and gave us an opportunity to establish the run game, something that we still want to continue to improve upon, but I do feel pretty good about that production. And then Muku Koloko had a couple nice catches for us out of the backfield, so that's the tailback position. Quarterback, Corey came through the game healthy, so everything is staying the same there. He was questionable going into last week at the beginning of the week, and didn't practice with us until Wednesday, and he did a good job as far as coming out of the game. Defensively, Keon Swanson will be back in the lineup. Keon did not make the trip last week due to disciplinary reasons, and all that's been cleared up, and he's good to go now as far as playing. TJ Beelan took about 20 reps, and then we did pull the red shirt off of Brandon Williams. And Brandon ended up playing about 50 plays for us on the defensive front. Did a very good job. Young kid out of DeCoin that's going to have a pretty good future in front of him. So that's the defensive line. Our linebacker core, outside backers, Jason DeMonch was our player of the game defensively. He continues to develop his game, more noticeable as far as making plays, both on the rush and then on the pass defense. So Jason had a very solid game. Inside linebackers were healthy there. And then moving into the secondary, which was a concern the week before, I was very pleased with how our secondary performed on Saturday. Basically, we kept everything in front. Was very confident with our tackling, and held some pretty good receivers in check. The new addition that we did have, DJ Cameron, did not play the week before against Eastern Illinois. He is back now with us. He will be one of our starting safeties. And then Carlton Lewis, the transfer that we had come in, he had a very good game also against Miami, Ohio. And he got our lunch pail award, which is just basically doing your responsibility, play in, play out, and I think Carlton's getting more comfortable with their defensive schemes, as is Anthony Thompson, who ended up playing 20 plays for us, and again, he's a very good talent. Only a freshman, so there's definitely an upside with Anthony getting more comfortable with their schemes also. Corner position, both Terrell Wilson and Emmanuel Soren, I thought they did pretty good with the matchups that they were on most of the day. So we took a step forward with the secondary, which is an area that the week before we did not perform well. So that was positive to see. Going through our special teams, at the end of the game, Jackson McLaughlin would have been our #1 kicker. So that's currently where we are going into the week. I have not made a game time decision at this point in time, but Jackson definitely presents a known quality there that I know exactly what he presents. So we'll see how that progresses during the week. And the rest are all the same. Okay, injury report. Probably the one, Josh Tinajero. He is probably a week out, so we had him, questionable. Now this week he should start getting some drills. He's an offensive lineman, guard / center, so that's an area that we definitely will welcome the depth when Josh gets back in the lineup. Okay, our schedule. I say it's a normal schedule, but we haven't had this schedule yet, just due to the nature of when we've been playing our games. But today is our off day, which is our mandatory day off for the veterans. Tuesday will be normal practice time on the field at 3:30, as will be Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, we'll do an afternoon practice, just kind of put the finishing touches on the game plan. And then Saturday, with that being a night game, try to spread things out throughout the day. We'll do a review in the morning, have a little brunch, give the guys a little time off, and then bring them back mid-afternoon and start getting game ready at that point in time. So that is our week. Upcoming game, Southeast Missouri. This is a game that's definitely taken on a rival feel, especially when they beat us 2 years ago at our place. Our first loss at the Saluki Stadium had definitely spiced things up in a hurry. And then last year, I know we had some success at their place, and this will be a game that'll have a lot of emotions tied into it. Looking at their team, they've been impressive to this point. They played Central Michigan very well. In fact, they were in the lead in the fourth quarter with that game. They were able to do things both offensively and defensively that I thought were very impressive. And this past week, they beat Division II school Mars Hill, and Mars Hill was a qualifier last year in the playoffs. They were an 8-3 Division II football team that had played some pretty good football. So, right now Southeast Missouri should be feeling good about the game that they're playing, and they're definitely going to present some challenges for us. Offensively, they do have a good number of players returning both offensively and defensively, but they are an option type football, which does present challenges for you as far as your defense is concerned. This is a true option football team. If you wanted to use the terms triple option, double option, all those terms that existed 10, 15 years ago, well, this is what Southeast Missouri does. So you got to be very assignment sharp. Their key players that they have, they got a young quarterback, Lathrop, who has done very well, taken over the reins, and he makes good decisions as far as executing the offense, has shown the ability to throw the football, and definitely has that potential to run the ball. Their key back that they go to, Levi Terrell, he's averaging over 100 yards per game. In their run game in itself is about 236, I believe, per game with the rushing average. So that's what they like to do, and they'll definitely challenge you with the pass game every now and then if you're doing too much with the run support. And they have a very good offensive line led by 74 Evan Conrad, and he's up for some preseason All-American awards. So they do have players that are very comfortable and capable with that offensive scheme that they're running. Defensively, they also return a good number of players from last year's team, especially on their front seven. But their defensive line, I think they have 6 or 7 guys that have at least started one time for them, so there's a lot of experience up front. Their linebacker core is very solid. If there's new faces anywhere, it would be in the secondary. But their defensive leaders are number 11, Blake Pfeiffer, who is was the preseason Ohio Valley Defensive Player of the Year. I know last year he was one of the top tacklers in the country, so he's the guy in the middle that kind of is the glue to their defense. And then up front, number 42, Justin Love. This is his 3rd year starting for him. A very athletic defensive end who's capable of definitely making plays with his athleticism. And then you look at their their special teams. They got everyone back. Basically, it's the same special teams that they had the previous year. Their kicker is good, Galbach. He's 5 for 6 right now with field goals, 6 for 6 on his PATs. So he's shown that he has very good consistency with his kicking game. Their punter is back. Their return specialist, which Spencer Davis, he had some very nice returns against us last year in our game. He's a guy that's he's a playmaker, and I know he was an all-conference player last year for them also. So they were a pretty well-rounded team when you look at them offensively, defensively, and special teams. So that's going to force us to make sure that our game is at a high level. Questions?
I have 2 personnel questions. Brandon Williams, is his future at nose tackle or at defensive end where he started out? And second question is, how did Worth grade out for the game?
Yeah, Brandon Williams, his ideal position is defensive end. Yes, he's the nose guard position. His body type isn't quite what you're looking for that position, but he's a strong kid. He gets off the ball well. Those are the traits that you want for your nose guard in a 3-4, somebody that can just get a good punch off of that delivery of blow, and Brandon's capable of doing that. So he's going to continue to get a lot of reps for us, and I'm looking forward to watching his progression. I think it should be pretty significant with each game that he plays. And Ethan Worth graded out well. There's room for improvement. I'm not saying he's an all-conference offensive lineman for us, but to pick up the offensive schemes as quick as he has really been pretty impressive. He's a very intelligent young man, has a good football sense, good football IQ, and that's kind of allowed him to come in and progress as fast as he has. So, which is, to be honest with you, it surprised me how fast he has come along.
Would his body type be able to add to 20, 30 pounds by the time he's a senior?
He's a true tackle. Again, he's just a freshman, and right now he is carrying that 280 mark. So, and he looks, I won't say skinny, but he carries it well, and 300 would be an easy weight for him to get to.
Coach, where do you feel like you guys made the most progress from week 1 to week 2?
Well, I think there's when you look at it, you try to be very critical at the same time as being realistic as far as what you've done well and what you need to do better. I just thought our overall assignments defensively, we were much more confident out there. Really liked how we ran to the football defensively. As I said, we kept everything in front of us. We made Miami of Ohio earn everything that they got. Their top receiver only had 3 catches on the game. Harwell, who is an NFL caliber receiver, and we did some things schematically that worked. and I thought our players did a good job of adapting to the game plan. And then offensively, we did a better job taking care of the ball. Now, 2 interceptions that ended up being the difference, and part of that was one time when Corey was getting hit as he was throwing. Situation he probably should have just ate the ball and tried to force something that wasn't there. And then the other one was just the bounce of the football, where it was a freaky play and could have ended up being a big play for us, but ended up being a big play for them. So, I thought we did a better job offensively, just being more responsible with the football. And I also think we're doing a better job of finding our identity of what we do well offensively. Confidence right now is something that we need to continue to build upon, and that'll come with success. So that's what we need next.
Do you feel like Corey's early struggles, I mean, he seemed to get going in the second half a lot better, but his early struggles, do you feel like that was lingering effects maybe from the concussion, not having practiced, or just, he just needs to do a better job of
When it gets to game time, you don't use excuses. It's just, part of it's just getting in game flow. I mean, you can be at 100% health and still have a slow start. So you got to give credit to the team when we're playing. Miami of Ohio, that was the one thing coming into the season. They were very high on their defense as far as having the majority of their players returning from last year, especially with the front 7. So we knew that athletically we'd be challenged, against that unit, and part of that might have been just getting used to the tempo of the game.
Coach, what do you like about your matchup with your defensive line against their offensive line?
Well, we'll see. That's you got both are experienced. I think their strength matches our strength. Our front 7, we feel pretty good about our run defense. But when you defend option football, I mean, it's not as simple as just pinning your ears back and going. You really got to be assignment sharp, and that's what we got to get taught here in a short period of time. What are all the option responsibilities, and I do think it'll be just one of those matchups where their strength will be matched up against our strength.
With 2 road games to start, do you get the sense that the team is ready to be back at home and finally have a game here?
Yeah, no, it's we're looking forward to playing at home. We're looking forward to having a normal week, and I do think that all things considered, we're sitting here as an 0-2 football team. That wasn't part of the plan. We weren't expected to be at this spot, but our attitude is very positive, very determined. With their meetings yesterday, I was pleased with how the players handled everything, and I'm anticipating that we'll have a very productive week with their practice, and right now everyone is goal-oriented, where the common cause is to get a team win.
Do you see a much greater confidence level this week after this game than in week 1?
We'll see. We haven't practiced yet, but that's the one thing that I'm looking for. That basically 1 or 2 things can happen. You start off with 2 losses, and you can kind of have a I don't care mentality, or you can have a determined attitude. So I'm hoping that I see a very determined team out there tomorrow.
Coach, as you said, Harwell was pretty much a non-factor in the game. Can you comment on why defense was so effective in shutting them down?
Well, as I said earlier, and this is simplifying it to a point that probably is not fair, but we always knew where he was. And even with their drops, we did more 3-man rushes. To get Coach Schweiger to do a 3-man rush it's like getting a Republican to vote Democrat. I mean, it's something that, but it was good. It was a good change-up for us. It allowed us to double team from time to time. I was happy with, even when we were in a 3-man rush, we were able to get pressure on the quarterback. We did more 4-man schemes with the rush, and then when we did bring pressure, we were able to get in and get into his face. So, I thought it was just a good overall game plan that gave our players a chance to be successful. In fact, a couple of the plays on their first touchdown, we have him in the backfield, and he just does the athletic thing and breaks free of a sack and ends up making a big play out of it. So, if we convert on those sacks, they probably don't get that first score, and, again, the game can always go a different direction.
Can you talk about using two running backs, Dale? Sometime last year, Jewel just kind of took over in that featured back spot, but how much do you like the two-back system, or do you think McCall is going to emerge or Strother is going to emerge as your featured back?
Well, that's part of, again, each one has their own strength and what they do well, and that's something that we want to be able to use two running backs. We don't want to have to just become one-dimensional. So, as we progress through the season, as our confidence grows in certain areas, we'll probably become more oriented to a certain style, but right now we need both ready to go.
Could you talk about your three FBS transfers, McCall and Lewis and Sarin, how quickly they've come in and to help you this year?
Well, they've been positive additions. And anytime you have a transfer, your concern is always how they're going to fit in with the chemistry of the team, and what's been very impressive with all the transfers that we've come in, they're very team oriented. They're team first. The guys have done a good job of accepting them, and the individuals have done a good job of Saluki football means something to them. So they don't have that mercenary attitude where they're just here to better themselves. They want to be a part of a good football program, and they're working hard to find any way to contribute, and that's pretty good.
With North Dakota State and Illinois State winning, I know your conference season didn't start for another week, but does it raise the bar a little bit for you already this year?
Well, the bar has been raised at the very beginning, so nothing that has happened this year has surprised me, except for us not starting a little better, So North Dakota State beating Colorado State, that was almost expected. Youngstown beating Pittsburgh. I know the Pittsburgh team pretty well. They had some suspensions. Again, that didn't surprise me. And then especially with Illinois State doing what they did this past week. They're a good football program. They're more multi-dimensional now. They've been good offensively. Now their defense has really stepped up. So this is a good league.
Do you avoid calling this a must-win game, or how badly do you think you need this?
They're all must-win. I mean, it's just the bottom line. Next week we'll be saying the same thing. So it's just that's the nature of football. It's you only got 11 games on a season. It's not like baseball or basketball where you can lose a couple and still be okay. Football, any lost game is definitely going to make the challenge more difficult for you.
McKinney, was it a one-game thing, or are you going to use him a lot more in that speed, whatever it was, reverse thing, or running on the ground?
Yep. It all depends on what the defenses are doing, and that was the one thing that Miami of Ohio was doing. They really had them. They played a 4-2 scheme, so they left the perimeter more open than other teams have. So because of that, both with Steven and Mikael too, most of his yards were just on the sweep plays. So each week will be a little bit different as far as what you can do and can't do. It was effective for us, and it almost looked easy anytime you get to the outside and just run to the sideline. That looks pretty easy, but that's not always going to be there.
Coach, you're a guy that typically likes to redshirt most of your freshmen, but you do have a handful that have been pressed into action for various reasons. How important will their development be?
Well, the reason you play true freshmen is because you feel they can contribute in a significant manner, and the freshmen that we have put into play, they're in that role. So we're looking for significant contributions, and so far everyone that we have pulled the shirt off has been in some type of rotation where their playing has been significant.
the guys that are playing as true freshmen, were they people that coming in that you anticipated?
Kinda, yeah. You never know in recruiting until you get them on campus and how they actually, you know, fit in and their work ethic and personality. But you know, it's you have hopes that individuals will be at a certain level when they get here, and you're seeing that being more and more common. I think in college football, I know Miami of Ohio, they pulled the shirt off 11 freshmen in their game against Ohio State. They traveled with 14 and they actually played 11. And you know, and it does, the coach there I thought had a good point. It does create more depth within your team. And you know, and that's another reason why we've done what we've done. As far as this, our depth right now looks pretty good on the depth chart.
How did Wilson adjust to being moved from left tackle to right guard?
Yeah, he did well. You know, there's still some adjustments. You know, he had 2 false starts, which you know, you know, that was later in the game, so I don't know why that is or why that came to be. If it's just you're seeing things a little bit differently, or you're just a little easier spooked when you're not at your normal comfort spot. You know, but the thing that we liked there, we pull our guards quite a bit. We want mobile guards, and Richard is very mobile, and he allowed us, especially with some of our combo blocks, interior, he's good at that. So he's just more at the point of attack with a lot of our run games. So, you know, that was the rationale for making that move.
How bad is Thuston's hamstring? Is it getting better?
Yeah, he was, he could have played on Saturday, so we're hoping that, you know, Tuesday we'll get the green light for him to be at full service.
Right now, would you still say Cameron's probably going to start ahead of him, even if he's healthy?
Yeah, DJ Cameron, he's one of those redshirt freshmen that he's going to be, you're going to notice him more and more here as the season progresses. So, you know, I like how he plays.
Coach, for knowing well that both SEMO quarterbacks are freshmen, would you implement more of a blitz defense to pressure them, or do you think that's too cliche to use?
Here's why you can't do that, because they run the option game, and with option football, one of the things, now you can blitz and have success every now and then, but if you blitz too much against an option team, they will have big plays. So you really have to be more assignment sharp. Now, when you can get them into passing situations, 3rd and long, now they have to do a drop back type protection scheme. You know, that's when you can like to turn the pressure on. But initially, it's just you can't do a whole lot of all-out blitzes against an option team.